Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and here we are again with another version of it started off being a small business focus, but I mean, we've evolved into so many different things. Sometimes we call it experiences. I don't even know what to call this one because it's so multifaceted, but let's start with a small business focus. This morning we have with us the esteemed Dr. Kerdis J. Clarke. What does the middle initial J stand for?
It stands for Julie.
Julie, okay.
Yes.
Kerdis Julian Clarke.
Good morning, Mr. Howell. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I know it's been a long time in coming, but we are here.
No, that's an extreme understatement. We had this young lady for the longest time, but she had to put the big wigs first and whoever first and do her other things first, but then she finally came around to little old me, and here we are, and I'm ecstatic about this.
Here we are.
So I'm gonna give you some rundown about the let me start this young lady thing, about the doctor. Now, Dr. Clarke, she commenced her doctoral studies first of all, she's a doctor of psychology, all right? So she commenced her doctoral studies in October 2019. Clinical psychology, that is. She was a recipient of the California Southern University Scholarship Award. She completed all coursework in 3 years. Now, normally when people go into these kind of things, part-time, it takes about 7 years. But this extreme overachiever,
and that I am,
went ahead and did it. And, she went through the accelerated program and did it in about 3 years. Kudos to that, man. That's very commendable.
Thank you.
And throughout the whole thing, I guess all the different modules and all the different courses, she maintained a GPA of 4.0 every course. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
By the end of the studies, she was a recipient of the honors of the highest distinction award, summa cum laude. Hold on. She got the summa cum laude for her graduating class. So, and at the end of this, her quote is, "To God be the glory." So again, welcome back to Clarke.
Thank you.
Okay, so just so people know what we're talking about, she's a clinical psychologist, but a lot of people don't have an idea of what that exactly is. So first, before we go into it, what's the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist?
Oftentimes, persons may be confused by the term. So a psychiatrist is a doctor that specializes in mental illness. So they have a medical background. They consider the illness model when treating clients. However, a psychologist considers the wellness model. And a psychologist does not have a medical background. So it means that I am not capable of prescribing medication, but psychiatrists do.
Okay, so let's jump back from there now. Before you even jumped into your studies and everything, what made you, before you became doctor, little old Miss Kerdis Clarke decided, you know what, I want to be a psychologist?
Mm-hmm. What many persons don't know is that my initial interest was in family law. And this was since primary school. I was very close to a lawyer and I observed their success and I thought, I want to be equally successful. So I was inspired to consider family law in the initial stages. However, being in primary school and noticing how the then counselor of the Gingerland Primary School made the students feel, that was Mrs. Lornette Swanson Morton. She was the counselor at that time. She's still a counselor, but at the Charlestown Secondary School, based on my last information. I observed that she turned frowns into smiles. And I thought, this is how I want others to feel. I want to be responsible for turning people's sadness into joy. And that was when I thought that I will be a counselor and by extension a psychologist as time progressed.
You hear that, Mr. Lana Swanson? Sometimes you're getting accolades that you don't even know about. So somebody else watched you at work and saw the good you did for society and decided, we don't want to be alive no more. But you wanted to turn, you wanted to turn the smiles into frowns, and that's very,
Frowns into smiles.
sorry, frowns into
Smiles,
smiles, frowns into
yes.
smiles. Okay, commendable. Okay, so share with us your journey now. You decided you wanted to do that. What was your next step?
Throughout my high school years, I considered the subjects pertaining to the field of social sciences, subjects such as social studies. Of course, you can't evade math. So, social studies, math, English, and the like. I completed my high school studies, of course. Maybe sixth form college, I attended that institution and graduated with an associate in general studies. I then ventured to complete a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology at the satellite campus in Trinidad at the University of the Southern Caribbean, but the degree program came from Andrews University in the US. Thereafter, I was positioned to work at the Nevis Mental Health Unit. I worked there for a year. Subsequent to that, I undertook studies in Taiwan. I received a MOFA scholarship. So I traveled to Taiwan to undertake studies in counseling and clinical psychology. Returning to Nevis, I always had a love for children, adolescents, young people. So I requested to be attached to the Department of Youth. That was made possible, and that, of course, caused me to even more develop my interest in young people, in the young population, youth population. So, being a high achiever, as you would have initially stated, I ventured to undertake my studies, my doctoral studies at California Southern University.
So at what point did you decide, you know what, I'm working for the government, I'm doing this, but at what point you decide, let me do this myself, let me set up my own private practice? What was the impetus for that?
Right. While I was at the Department of Youth, I felt that I needed to do more. I needed to expand my scope and reach. I felt that there was an untapped potential in the field of mental health that required me to be a part of that space. I wrestled with the thought for about 2 years, minimum 2 years. And as the Holy Spirit led, I decided that I am going to take the leap of faith, because I felt that my purpose was beyond the Department of Youth, and that is really to connect with people on a level that required of me to restore their mental health and well-being. So I took the leap of faith and I resigned, which led to me fully operating my private practice.
All right, okay. Oh, we're not going to jump there. Yeah. So she's revealing a bit too much too soon. So she has a private practice, but okay. So you resigned from youth. So tell us the steps you then took to say, okay, I'm going to do my own thing from ground level, everything. Give me that. Give me that.
Okay,
story.
so you want the integrity?
Yes.
So I consulted with some of my very close friends, my family members as well. I indicated to them my internal conflicts, and I was wrestling a lot. I felt as though I needed to take that leap of faith, but there is always that sense of job security where the public sector is concerned. And being as young as I am, I felt that I should really be mindful of that job security component that is attached to being a civil servant. As I said, I consulted with my persons, my family members, my supporting cast, and they felt that, some of whom felt that I needed to give it a little bit more time, others felt that I can take the leap of faith regardless. They would always support me. I prayed, I wrestled, I journeyed to various countries. I took vacation, all of my vacation. I figured in the event that I don't return, at least I would have benefited from my vacation days. So I traveled overseas and it was a solo trip. It was a trip of clarity. I needed to ensure that whatever decision that I may choose to make, I know it would impact me at least for another 5 years. So I needed to ensure that I made the best decision without distraction, particularly. So I made a few stops regionally and internationally, again, just moving as the spirit compelled me to. When I returned to the Federation, that was when I decided I am definitely going to take that leap of faith. I felt a huge tug to do something more, to do something different, still to impact, still to transform lives, but in a different way.
So let's start the concrete and that. So, you went to a bank initially or anything like that, or did that go?
So I started officially in January, actually.
What year?
In fact, 2024.
2024, okay.
In fact, it was January 16th that I started officially. I thought, you know what, let me tease the landscape and see if there is going to be a lucrative venture, if this venture would be a lucrative one.
In Little Nevis.
So I made a Facebook post. I introduced myself as a clinical psychologist, etc. I was amazed by the uptick in interest, right? I was amazed. And I thought, okay, well, definitely the Lord brought me here and He's going to take me through. So I decided to capitalize on the interest. Persons were reaching out. I mean, it was half month at that time, and the revenue was not bad at all. Given that it was half month, it really was not bad, but it showed potential in what I was capable of doing. So throughout that year, I operated in my home office.
Okay.
Yes, when I built my house.
Hello. We in Nevis is your home office.
In Clegot.
Okay.
Yes.
And I skipped some steps I normally ask in interviews. Which village, if somebody asks you, which village in Nevis do you represent, that Miss Kerdis Clarke represents, Dr. Kerdis Clarke, which village is that?
Oh boy, our villages?
You can name all of them. You can name all of them. That's fine. You can name all of them.
I represent Butlers, Hanley's Road, and Clegots.
Well, that sounds okay.
Yes.
What surnames are attached to those two different villages?
So Clarke is from Butlers, Walters is from Hanley's Road. Right.
Okay. So your home office, you say, operated in Cleveland. Okay.
Yes. When I constructed my home, I constructed an office in that same space because I tend to be a visionary person. So I envisioned at the time that should there be need, because the truth is, I always wanted to operate a private practice.
Gotcha.
It's just that it was a matter of timing. So when I constructed my home 8-9 years ago, I incorporated an office in that space. So there is where I operated for the entire year of 2024 up to May 2025.
And keep referring to your business. What is the name of your business and how did you name it? So what was the impetus to name it as such?
The name of my private practice is The Respite. When I thought of a name that I could possibly use, I wanted a name to capture taking a break, a mental break. So certainly I wasn't going to name the practice Take a Break or The Break. I then discovered respite. I knew the word, But it did not dawn on me until that time when I was teasing my brain as to what name I can give my private practice. And then I thought, the respite. Leave the troubles behind, take a break when you come to the respite. Whatever that break may look like, for whatever duration, just take a break. The respite represents taking a break. And that is what the logo indicates as well. You can appreciate that this is my logo. Can you tell me what are your thoughts about the logo? What do you see? Just tell me what you see.
You have an R for respite, of course, but inside you have somebody who's like they've packed up, they're carrying their either luggage or troubles on their back, but they're going into something to address it.
Right.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So that was the inspiration behind the creation of the logo, and that logo was designed by my dear friend, my forever friend, Nikolai Williams.
And the business you have now, the respite, that's on the same property of where you live?
It is next to my home office.
Now, where it's built, did you have to buy additional land to put it there, or that was you just put it on the same?
I would wish to answer that question by saying that the Holy Spirit leads.
Yes.
And sometimes decisions are made in the moment, may seem as though it is just a random decision, but then when the plan comes together, you'd recognize that this was really a part of the greater plan. It's just that I wouldn't have benefited from that awareness at that time. So let's go back to come forward. While in Taiwan, and because I was always on this accelerated path when it comes to my studies. So when I was completing my bachelor's degree, I completed my studies a semester and a half almost prior to the scheduled end time. In Taiwan, I completed my studies 6 months prior to the end time. While in Taiwan though, I missed home, which is obvious. I missed home. It was clear that I, in missing home, had free time to think, and at least that served as my distraction. So while there, I started to envision what 10 years from that time can look like. So I bought a pink book, and I decided that I am going to map out my life for, well, at least the next 10 years. And it was just me thinking about wanting to build a space that would accommodate children. It was me thinking about my doctoral studies, schools that I can possibly consider. It was about me considering staffing of that institution, etc. So that little pink book allowed me to manifest the things that I would have liked to see 10 years thereafter. When I returned from my studies in Taiwan, there is a lot next to my house. Of course, it has an owner. And one time I thought, you know what, nobody is getting me anything for Christmas. I'm going to get myself a Christmas gift. And I decided to purchase the piece of land. So I reached out to the owner, of course, and I purchased the piece of land as my Christmas gift.
Let me pause right there. So while most of the young people, because I consider myself a young person too, went into Amazon for Christmas, you decided to do what again?
I decided to purchase a piece of land as my Christmas gift.
Commendable actor. Continue.
So that is the land upon which the respite office is situated. I thought at that time when I considered building the office that it's so easy to identify a location because I own that piece of land next door.
Right next door.
Right. what may have been another contemplation, I'm sure, for persons generally would think, well, why not go to the city center? Because it would be accessible, perhaps, by most persons because people go to town quite often. And while, of course, I considered options in the city, I felt that it was better for me to house the respite,
Respect, yes.
right, in a village. To me, it lends itself to that element of confidentiality and privacy that the respite is principled on.
And respect, of course, because like you said, the city center is normally
Very busy.
connected with chaos, noise,
Noise, right,
busyness, all the
right,
different things,
correct.
you know,
So I wanted a space, an environment that offers peace, and the Clegot is generally peaceful.
yes.
The breeze is fresh. The trek to Clegot can offer that sense of relaxation anyway. So I felt that it was better for one's peace of mind to be able to visit a facility that is away from the busy life.
Gotcha. All right, so again, take me through just, you're gonna have to forgive me, I jump all around in my interviews sometimes,
That's
whatever
okay.
hits me. I noticed you've mentioned many times about the spirit leading. What's your home church? Are you
Oh, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist.
Seventh-day Adventist?
So I attend specifically the Brown Hill Church. Yes.
So jumping back, so okay, you decide you buy the land,
I
but
bought
of
the
course you have to
land.
build the
The
space.
structure. Right.
So who designed it?
My architect is an architect out of Antigua. His name is Ramis Maskell. He designed my house. So obviously I would, because he did a pretty good job in terms of designing my house. So of course I engaged his services, so he designed the office space. He did a marvelous job where that is concerned. Before we even get to designing, note that I had very little resources when I started. Very
You sure?
little. Very little.
But I saw you in Dubai. How you reach
That
Dubai?
was some time ago. Plus, I need to take a vacation anyway, so I
Okay.
need to be able to
Okay.
budget vacation time in my expenses.
Okay.
But I started with very little resources. But I'm a big believer in God and His moving power. And again, if He brought me to it, He's going to take me through it, right?
Yes.
So I ventured with very little resources and a heart of gratitude and prayed through the process. Persons would have contributed significantly to the cause. The community members showed up for me in different ways. Of course, I eventually ventured to seek financial support.
Okay.
Big up to Sidhu. Sidhu really came through for
Shout out
me.
Sidhu.
Yes, really came through for me in the latter stages. That was most of the finishing and purchasing equipment, furniture, etc. to make the building functional, because it's one thing to have the structure, which I had at the time, but it's to make it functional to do the job that it's supposed to do. Sidhu really believed in the respite and its dream, and I do have to give shout out to Sidhu for that. So
Who's your caseworker at Sidhu? Who did you work with?
Angela Delpesh.
Okay.
This is Delpesh.
Gotcha.
Yes, so that was a marvelous intervention, very timely, because by that time my resources were very depleted.
Okay.
So it was very timely, and like I said, it was because of their interest and their belief in the dream,
Yeah.
right? Is why I was able to have a finished product. My contractors were Kerdis Clarke, my daddy, and Kevin Brown as well. So those two persons, particularly Kevin Brown, he was there night and day and night, ensuring that the building was delivered at the time when I wanted it to, which was on the 22nd of July was when I had the opening of the office space.
22nd of July, what year?
Oh, 2025.
I like talking about community stuff, and apart from CIDO, give me some examples of how your community, how your family, how they contributed.
Well, of course, financially.
Yes.
Certainly,
And every company has
financially.
helped paint.
Yes, labor, of course. So financially, my family and friends, well-wishers showed up. Even if it was a contribution of a pallet of blocks, that helped greatly. There were persons in passing who saw that I was aggressive in delivering this building, and I imagine with my interest in wanting to complete the construction of the space, and with their skill set, they jumped in even without being asked. There are persons such as Elmos Grant, my neighbor. He's also a contractor. He was ever present. There is Wilson Grant, my neighbor as well. He's a plumber, the electrician. They all came through. And these are persons who utilized their resources. There were persons who did my shopping overseas in terms of furniture, etc., accompanying me and assisting in that respect. There were persons who, listen, I don't even want to continue to call names because I know that I will miss essential persons.
Gotcha.
But even for those who prayed, who called to check in, how are things going, making these inquiries, really went a long way. Persons who during the construction process, who visited the space, who gave ideas, and it really, really helped. It really helped. The community did it, not for me, but for my clients, past, present, and future.
That's very inspirational that the community can still come together. And even in these times when most people are concerned about their own personal struggle, that they could still extend themselves to help some other community members. I really love that.
Definitely.
But I want to jump now into, because we've talked about the Earth Scout of the whole product. So let's jump into the respite now. What does the respite offer? That's what people don't really want to know.
The respite offers a suite of services. I felt that it was necessary to fill that service gap that existed, and also to transform the image of mental health. When we think of mental health, mental illness, oftentimes it has or carries a negative connotation. And I wanted, in my bid to become a private practitioner, to change that paradigm in terms of how people view mental health and mental wellness. So the things that I would do may be unconventional, maybe considered different from what we are used to, but at the end of the day, it is one to restore persons' mental health and well-being, and also for persons to appreciate a different side of mental health that we probably wouldn't have been otherwise exposed to in this region. So the services that we offer are individual therapy for children and adults, couples therapy, psychological evaluation, and diagnostic evaluations, family therapy. So those are the umbrella services. I do offer reading support for children particularly. What's
reading support?
So teaching children how to read, how to write, how to understand what they read, etc. So I offer those suite of services.
Okay. So someone comes to the respite, and and let's say somebody comes to your business and they're gonna walk through, and what do you have in the respite?
My space is, I would like to say, specially curated, so that the environment starts the healing process. Seeing the office on the outside, you should think that, oh my goodness, this is a mental health facility. That starts the conversation, that starts the healing process. But upon entry, one would recognize that there's a waiting room, of course, a receptionist space. It is very comfortable. The entire facility is very comfortable. I sometimes even think that I spend too much time at my office than at my house because it is just so relaxing there. And so there's a receptionist area. There is a respite room. The respite room was inspired by a client who, while I was in my home office, at times they would ask, can I just come and just be without talk therapy, just wanting to escape the pressure at the time, just wanting somewhere safe, not wanting to be with friends because that may, and the type of friends that they had probably would have encouraged drinking, etc. They wanted to just be. Of course, that wasn't possible because it's a home office, it's connected to, so there was only a certain degree of allowance or provision that would have been made for clients visiting my home office at that time. But the respite room offers that level of intervention. It is very cozy. It allows for one to just be in that space and be, if it is that one wants to be with their own thoughts. By themselves, without me. Gotcha. That's fine. Right. It is yes, right. The ambience may be set to what may, because we tend to consider light or color and how it can be used to benefit clients as well. So it is created according to the needs of the clients at that time. So sometimes it's just to rest, if it is that you need somewhere to sleep, because at home can get very busy. That's the space that is created for that. There are 2 functional bathrooms, one for children and one for adults. There is also the play therapy room, and as the name implies, it is to accommodate play therapy, behavioral therapy, individual therapy for children particularly. They use that room. It is equipped with an interactive wall, which I would like to think is the first such wall in St. Kitts Nevis and perhaps the region. I don't know. I can be wrong, but based on my research, because I was exploring other territories to see if it is that there is a possibility to reach or contact someone who may have a similar setup to see if it is that they can assist, but my efforts were futile, which is why I said what I said. But the interactive wall is catering to children who learn differently and who can utilize that bit of technology to enhance their overall development. It's one of my favorite features, quite frankly, of the respite. So that's a play therapy room. Then there is my office, of course, for obvious reasons. There's where the talk therapy, there's where it happens, diagnostic evaluations, etc. In the back of that space, outside, is a playground area and what I like to call a teepee, because it allows for that outside conversation. Sometimes I like to move my conversations external the office space. Sometimes conversations are had on drives. Sometimes conversations are had in the kitchen while cooking a simple meal.
So that's less clinical than being in an actual room.
Right. And even so, it is still clinical, but it's just the setting. The setting is different and it depends on the needs. If someone likes to cook, then, utilizing that interest and skill, their strengths.
You can cook?
I can cook.
Yes.
Yeah. Utilizing their interest and skills, I would consider therapy sessions that would cater to their interests, cater to their strengths, but all while still meeting a particular target. Newly introduced is my rooftop. I love my rooftop. The rooftop was designed to accommodate sessions on the rooftop at evenings. Again, seeking to change the way in which talk therapy can be done and location as well. Because oftentimes it is regarded as it's being in an office space. So the rooftop was designed to accommodate such level of interaction. But it has fast become or is becoming a space of interest for entertainment. So on the rooftop, because of how the rooftop is situated with the logo wall on top of the rooftop, on the back side of it allows for me to project movies, karaoke, videos, etc. So I would have hosted parties, intimate moments, proposals, advertising a Valentine's Day dinner on the rooftop. So the space allows for that level of intimacy and fun.
Adolescent Clarke.
Adolescent Clarke.
Yeah, this isn't, we tend to always, when we talk about names, we keep talking about always on the beach and all that, but here you're in a nice village in, you call it Gingerland?
I call it Clarke. Gingerland in Gingerland, yes.
So yeah, you can find paradise like anywhere you look in Nevis. Did I break your train of thought? I had finished.
No, I didn't.
So you were going for the different rooms.
Right, so outside was the last, yes.
When you say outside, that's the rooftop?
Yes, the rooftop and the playground and the, right. So, just to say that the building was carefully created with the clients in mind. And of course, where there is scope for expansion in the coming years, I certainly will consider that. I am thinking of purchasing another plot of land, so
Close by or someplace separate?
I hope it's close by.
Well, some people like to separate their home from their business, so they want some kind of separation.
Yes, but I've grown to like it. Yes, I've grown to appreciate it. Of course, it has its disadvantages, but I've grown to appreciate it.
So let me ask you. You mentioned rooftop evening sessions. What kind of hours you have then? You're saying evenings.
I operate generally from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Last client finishing at 5 p.m. But certainly, depending on the schedule of clients and what I'm seeking to do, I would make provisions for such clients. If it's better for me to accommodate them and better for them as well in the evening, because oftentimes it's not so much so about what works for me, but also what may work for a client depending on their schedule, their work schedule. Maybe the evening time may be best for them. But that is of course based on my discussion, because I do have to ensure that I pay attention to myself and the way in which I transition from work to my personal life. I still have to ensure that there is that degree of balance.
So let's get colloquial for a second. The vision. Let's just talk about Nevis. Who actually live here amongst the community. Let's just use the word community. What kind of services will the community come to you for?
Typically, for adults, talk therapy, clinical diagnostic evaluations.
I want you to talk down. I want you to
Talk
talk.
down, okay.
Let's pretend like I'm a 12-year-old.
All right.
So, to break it down like that.
Okay. So in terms of adults, they may come because they may be encountering certain challenges in their life. They may be experiencing symptoms or feelings of depression, anxiety, etc. So that is usually what brings adults particularly to the respite. Just wanting to make sense of themselves, sense of the situations that they may be involved in, wanting for there to be a non-judgmental ear. Oftentimes people come, not necessarily that, and I don't give advice, I guide. So oftentimes it's a matter of maybe seeking clarity. They are presented with a particular situation, whether at home or at work. These are the symptoms that they're experiencing. but they want to make sense of their experience, they come. In terms of children, parents typically bring their children for social communication therapy. So their child may not be saying as much as they should based on their developmental stage. So they would like that kind of support, especially children who may be diagnosed with show signs of autism spectrum disorder, a similar disorder on that in that category of disorders. So children typically come for that purpose. Also for individual therapy, might be suffering from the loss of a loved one. Grief therapy. Adults, of course, engage with that process as well. Parents may wish to bring their child because of some behavioral challenges. So we offer behavioral therapy for children as well. Couples, some couples, they would like to seek answers in terms of whether or not their partner may be a right fit for them, so compatibility, relational challenges, relationship issues, communication issues, intimacy issues, etc. So those are some of the situations that would drive persons to visit the respite.
Okay. So here's a question. We live in a very small community. And one time I was speaking to you, so you were going up the St. Kitts to work too.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say St. Kitts neighbors. We live in a small society, everybody knows everybody. How do I know? Let's say I'm coming to you. How do I know when I come to you? How do I feel confident that I know that, like we say colloquially, the business not end up path?
When one considers even visiting the respite or even visiting me, I believe that it is with the sense that their information will remain private. If you sense that, based on observation, based on feedback, this is not going to work based on my information being respected, you will not go. So I believe that even from maybe feedback from others, the way in which the respite is marketed, one develops that confidence in the respite protecting their information. But you arrive at the respite surely with some insecurity still. I oftentimes say, because every engagement begins with a consultation. It does not begin with a deep dive, because I need to appreciate the circumstance, and also you need to be able to ascertain for yourself whether or not here is a space that you would want to engage in. So it is during that consultation where I divulge or share the confidentiality code, the privacy code. I walk my clients through that process. I give assurances, and I like to think that I am a confidential person. I've lived a private life for all of my adult life. So I would want to think, if personally I'm a private person, and because I knew from the onset, remember I said that my awakening as it relates to my interest in counseling, in psychology, was since my primary school years. So having learned the principles over time, one such being confidentiality and privacy, I've always sought to have that become a part of my lifestyle. So it is in that spirit that I ensure that my professional space is confidential and private as well. There would have been instances at my space where, let's say, a client may come, because I particularly see clients by appointment only. So a client may come prior to their scheduled time. Meanwhile, I may have a client in my office. So the building is as such where once I know that there's a client in the waiting room, I allow the client in my space to exit from a different section of the building so as to ensure that privacy is maintained. I owe that much to them.
Yes.
And I even said to my clients during the consultation, if whilst in town I zoom past them without acknowledging, understand it's not me trying to be rude, but nobody even has to know that we know each other. And even if I say hi and it appears that it's cold, understand it's just me being courteous, but and acknowledging your presence, but not that I want that others would know that we even know each other to that extent. I even go as far as to say that if perchance I may ask, how are you? You know, just formally. It is not that I want to hear, you know, last week when I came by you, so it's not that. It's a simple, I'm good. And even if you want to hop on the phone thereafter and send a WhatsApp, I am not doing well, you know, but at least we keep it formal and confidential, even in our everyday engagement, even outside of the workspace. So those are some of the practical steps that I've taken to ensure that persons feel as though their information is protected.
You have a lot of couples?
I do.
A lot of couples, really?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I do.
All right. And outside of the couples, who do you have mostly, men or women? That should be a confidential one. That's about
No. I'm here thinking. I want to say it's sort of even.
Oh, okay.
I want to say sort of even.
Men don't like to give up that part of themselves.
But
so easily.
that's the thing. There has been a shift. I have noticed.
Really?
Yes, there's been a shift. If you're to ask me which sex visits me more, I would say slightly more males than females.
Oh, okay.
Slightly more males than females.
Let me ask you a question about me. I am convinced about me, right, that I'd be a great singer if I had more. I don't want to say self-esteem, but I can't think of anything. So let's just go with self-esteem. I think I would be a better singer if I had more confidence and self-esteem. That's something you could address?
Sure. Definitely. I'm not seeking to make you a good singer.
Yeah.
But but we would work through it. Yeah, it's common. Yeah, it's very common. Self-doubt, lack of confidence. Yeah, it's very common.
What's the youngest client you've had?
17 months.
17 months?
17 months.
Wow. And your oldest client?
70 plus.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, 70 plus. But 17 months at the time. When that client came, they were 17 months. And for specific reasons, but they're blossoming so well right now. Blossoming.
Your pricing and all of this, that's something you would just like to leave if people call you for appointments, or that's something you want to talk about? Yeah.
I have no problem. Well, probably I can say if one visits the website www.therespitkn.com, under the service tab, one would be able to see the prices of my services.
You want to share? Because again, it's an inspirational story. Young lady start home business. You want to, just for inspirational sake, you want to share your age? Or you don't want to share your age?
I'm a little over 35 years old.
Okay. Well, I think I've exhausted my questions. So, is there anything I might have missed that you would want the public to know?
Not in particular, except that the respite is a private practice that was built with clients in mind. And as such, there are initiatives that would have been considered for rollout this year, new initiatives. We ensure that we remain current and relevant in response to the changing needs of our world, of our society, and people in general. So we typically pay attention to our clients and what they need and try to ensure that we can fill those gaps. So, for example, one of the programs that we created is called Trendy. Now, that was created because a young girl by the name of Zarenia Bartlett, she approached me one time, having understood what I do professionally. She asked if I wouldn't consider a space for teenagers to meet and to just chill and talk, because teenagers, of course, they have a lot going on and sometimes may feel misunderstood and not necessarily be acknowledged. So they may feel misunderstood and unacknowledged. That's planted the seed. So over the few months of the respite being constructed, I always wrestled with that idea of starting a program that caters to teenagers, and that was the birth of Trendy. So again, that's just an example of clients, me listening to them. They listen to me when they come. I'm not saying she's a client.
Yes.
All I'm saying is persons randomly, they may plant a seed, whether they are clients or otherwise. They plant a seed, we listen, and we see if there's a way in which we can fill a gap that is obviously present. So we try to keep the respite relevant, we try to keep the respite current as it relates to our social issues. So if it is that there are persons who wish to give to the respite, that would be awesome. A new initiative, charity initiative, is being contemplated and designed for that purpose, but more will be revealed in time. Again, responding to the needs of the community. All I ask is for persons to support the efforts. It is with the community in mind.
All right. Well, Doctor, you've given us a lot of information. Well, people are here, right? We're going to have our contact information to reach out to the good doctor. How pre-booked are you? Like, if I wanted an appointment, when would I be able to get one?
All one has to do is visit the website.
Yes.
And they would be able to look at the availabilities and select a time that works for them. That time that works for them, once it's available, would be a time that works for me.
Gotcha.
Or for that quick assistance, one can contact the office by calling 663-4174.
Here's something that, well, let me ask you this one, because again, leading back to the confidential thing and the small thing. Suppose someone wanted an appointment, but they want you to come to their place.
I do house calls, I have to
case by case.
Right, I have to consider certain variables,
Gotcha.
and that would determine if whether or not that is feasible for me and my team.
And she has pepper spray. For that part. All right, folks. So yes, this has been another episode of the Small Business Focus / Experiences / Inspiration, all the good stuff. And today our guest once again is Dr. Well, let me look what I missed that. Dr. Kerdis Clarke with the respite. All right. So again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you.